Morning!
Madman!
Welcome to the India Explained podcast, recorded in London and San Francisco. One take, unscripted, no rehearsal. Hey Bunty, welcome back. What's up in London?
Everything's good, Rohit. Everything's good. I just am looking forward to kind of putting out some of these stories that we've picked up and exchanged notes on. There's this one thing that I forwarded you a while back, which was an athlete in Jharkhand
Right.
dying because of government negligence. Did you manage to take a peek at that story?
I did. It's his name is I think Vishal Kumar.
Which That's
He's
correct.
a
That's
national
correct.
level wrestler, and this was August 9th, so just very recently. The story is on indiatimes.com. One second. There's a terrible pop-up ad that's coming on this story.
So
The
I'll
amount.
I'll 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 jump in. This
Right.
guy was in died in a freak incident at the Jaipal Singh Stadium in Ranchi. This is in
Right.
Jharkhand.
And he was electrocuted.
25-year-old. He was electrocuted because it was a dilapidated building which housed the offices of the Jharkhand State Wrestling Association, and it was flooded with rainwater. So it's just basic stuff that goes wrong.
Right.
And apparently this guy was a competitive wrestler. The faulty wiring, preliminary investigations, it goes on to say, that revealed that his death was due to electrocution. Vishal was using a water pump to clear out the water so this guy is a state ranking wrestler.
Right.
He comes to a stadium. Look at the level of apathy, government apathy here. So it's not his job to pump out water,
Right.
right? His job is to come and train in a wrestling federation secured facility. So never mind that. He comes there and he says that, okay, my wrestling federation place is underwater. Through diligence, I'm going to pump out the water. Poor chap doesn't know that what compounds matter is there are electricity wires hanging around. And in trying to just clear his ground for doing what he was meant to do in that first place, he dies. And that to me, I know this is happening in one corner of the country, but it's systemic of how government and administration operates. And this is not a comment on politics. It's just a comment on
Right.
public services in India. They almost seem to be doing you a favor if they get it right,
Right. And
right?
it
So
and in
that's what struck me about the story.
and in that vein, the negligent value of human life, or some human lives, or human of the lives of vast swaths of our population, was also revealed in a very tragic uh, incident that took place at a hospital in Gorakhpur, which is the constituency of the current UPCM as well, which is at the Baba Raghav Das Hospital. There have been 72 children who have died as a result of oxygen being turned off. Now, long story short, that I've been following this story very closely. There's an excellent story in the Caravan which says that there are children who suffer from these seizures, which have been and symptoms every year around this time in August, July, August, because of the monsoon. There's
Right.
some debate about whether this is Japanese encephalitis, I don't know how you pronounce it, encephalitis, but they apparently it's the stronger cases for it being caused by a toxin which is found in a plant. So it's something called scrub typhus. One way or
Right.
another, no one knows what the exact cause is, but you have vast numbers of children who come in. The parents are very familiar with the symptoms, so a lot of children were on respirators. And what happened is the supplier, who had been contracted to provide oxygen to the hospital, hadn't been paid. There were arrears of 67 lakhs. The story is that the payment had been held up because there were some people either in the government or the bureaucracy who had demanded bribes. So
Right.
these children died. There's been a lot of finger pointing. The trolls of the BJP government online are, of course, finding all kinds of ways to say that this has been happening anyways. Yogi himself came up with a statement which is the deaths were due to. He didn't say anything about the oxygen. He said the deaths were due to uh, lack of cleanliness and open defecation. And that's strange because that's an indictment of his own constituency, where he's been an MP for 25 years, right? The last 5 terms. Um, in the middle of all of this, so there have been the mandatory suspension. I think the principal of the hospital, which is affiliated to medical college, has been fired. There was also a doctor called Kafil Khan, Dr. Kafil Khan, who arranged for oxygen cylinders with the help of his friends and private vendors, and now he spent a few thousand, 10,000 rupees or something, saved some lives, worked through the night, but he's been fired with no official cause being given. And there's a lot of, again, stories about him circulating on social media, which are probably from the BJP's IT propaganda wing. So, all around, it's just a terrible tragedy, preventable deaths, and the parents of the children have revealed, the details they've revealed about how their children have died apparently have been really horrific. So this is where we are, and we talk about being a superpower, we talk about development. Our television anchors who overlooked Yogi's fairly ghastly record, with all kinds of criminal allegations to do with his mutt, where he ruled, or the fact that he ruled Gorakhpur like a fiefdom. Let's give him a chance. He's going to engage in development. This is what it seems to have come to.
I think, look, I mean, we are segging away from the wrestler's untimely death, though tragic, is one life. And again, we don't want to quantify it. And then we are moving to Gorakhpur, where 70 children die because of lack of oxygen. I think,
In one night or two, something like that. I
or
don't.
one night or two. Okay. So the two things that I'm going to pick up on that story. First, the figure that you mentioned, 67 lakhs. Let's assume for a moment that that figure is contestable, but it is a large enough figure for one reason. My father used to need, when he was alive, needed oxygen to help with his breathing. The way the business works is there are pharmacists who fill up cylinders and give it to you, and when the cylinder level falls below a level, you send it up for a recharge, right?
Right.
And I'm not going to go into city and details. The average cost of filling up a cylinder was about 1200 rupees, and this may be inflated, it may not be inflated. The point that I want to make is that if in a state administration you've got 67 lakh outstanding on oxygen as a line item, if you divide that 67 lakh by 1,000 rupee short, right,
Hmm.
you can see basically how much this, whatever Baba hospital this is,
Hmm.
has kind of twisted the line of credit for a supplier, right?
Right.
Because the suppliers, there's a humongous amount of cylinders. If you start imagining as how many cylinders are currently not paid for by this hospital, so that's the first commercial mismanagement aspect, right?
Yeah.
Put that alongside the chief minister making a comparison that the death of kids because of lack of oxygen, which is primarily being triggered by incompetent commercial management of suppliers, is actually to be blamed on open defecation and dirt, public hygiene. Belie, I can't match up the Venn diagrams. How is one connected to the others? They're two separate things that fails. The other thing is in any situation in Gorakhpur, and particularly Uttar Pradesh, anytime you lead with religion or caste, that becomes the story. So this doctor, uh, because he's Muslim, and because he went, as far as we understand from the media's reports point of view, went out of his way using his personal income to help as many lives as he could. I think what will happen is this will be the reason he's been fired is, as a Muslim man, he's been trying to discredit an administration that is not benign towards them.
Right.
Because I think the story clearly here is that there was one guy, take his religion out of the equation, who tried to help kids who were dying because of commercial mismanagement, right?
And or criminal
And
negligence.
or criminal negligence. Now the masala that's been put is Muslim man is doing ungli to Yogi Baba, and Yogi Baba is saying that people are dying without oxygen, not because I haven't paid for the oxygen, but because people are having a dump outside the hospital and there's garbage. So the tamasha. So, and nobody in the media seems to be, from what we understand, is saying, okay, let's look at the lines of information, let's separate them into packets and see how they add up. And from where we are standing as amateurs, it doesn't add up.
It doesn't. And actually, it's very interesting you say this because as we've been talking, there's a person called Vidya Krishnan. She's the health and science editor at The Hindu. And she, her Twitter feed is excellent. And she is also been talking about the fact that there's a kind of media gag from the UP Chief Minister's office on Gorakhpur.
Right.
And, the fact that there is a reporter, a good reporter who knows this, but the mainstream media conveniently chooses to ignore it, because if they've allied with the government or self-preservation, the owners are more interested in profit or whatever, itself is a very sorry state of affairs. So I think while we can't blame the media for the deaths of the children, I think the next time something of this kind happens, and it will happen again, because as a aside, I should just point out that on average there are 25 to 30 deaths per day in that hospital in August, uh, of people, children mostly, I assume.
Hmm.